All right, welcome to Blockchain Basement, where the points are made up, I messed it up. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we.
All right, welcome to Blockchain Basement. It's going to be a really good episode for you guys today. I will save that intro and retry it again maybe next Monday because it was going to be great.
Yeah,
but that one was even better. Thank you, BJ, for the quick save and fast edits. We've got a Biscuit Jesus on the couch today. We've got some type of lab chemist, but it's not the not chemistry, bro. We got Kelly Kellum from the Bit Lab here today, and the Druth. Whoa, everybody loving the Druth. A lot of comments I saw this morning. I was digging through some of those, replying. A lot of people loving those episodes. Yeah. And as always, shout out to all of you guys, our favorite people, everyone in the chat. We've got Radio Face Joe. We don't ever want to forget Joe. TJ's Chicken Salad, Sir Quest, The Deadwood, Cardonzo, Maxi, Chemistry Bro, Michael Moore, Crypto Halligan, Big Daddy, Crit Cats, Space Manny, Skid Marks. TJ's Chicken Salad again, The Golden Jet, Phil Nye, The Crypto Guy, Ariel for Life, Fluffy the Sheep, Steve Forbeck, JCI, Crypto Naughty, Richard Tuma, all of you OG. What's that?
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. Get to the chopper.
TJ, do you have any names? We were just talking about, you know, we watch these chats, and whether it's Bitboy Crypto, BitLab, Frankie Candles, Blockchain Basement, we watch these chats, and there's so many people that we see on a regular basis that it's almost like we feel like family with y'all. Do you have any name that comes to mind that is the funniest? I think for me,
funniest.
Mine is, I think it's just a smart. It's so silly. Brokoshi no dinero.
Okay, no, there's a lot. This actually, I will say, as far as the best names in chat, I would say this is one of the best ones. We've got TJ's Chicken Salad, we've got DZ's Hairline, we've got This Is the Bitcoin Way. But as far as like OGs that I always think about in the basement that have been here for years, you know, there's like you said, a solid 40 to 100 people that have been here day in, day out, whether it was the BitBoy stream on Twitch, which is really where the basement stream started. But I think Corey Harden, one that we don't see as much anymore that was there at the very beginning, Juggy TTV. He still pops in every once in a while. Of course, Chemistry Bro, Mana Walk, Ariel for Life has been here a long time. Crypto Naughty, LJ, GG, a lot of Mike
Crimson
Volmer,
Caravan Company.
Crimson Caravan Company.
Gary's Guzzler.
He's always got good comments there. So
good.
Yeah, we love all of you guys. We love hanging out with you. We love talking crypto. That's why we do what we do. I'm really enjoying seeing all you guys in the Discord, getting that interaction with each other. I promise you, BJ was raging on the computer, on the laptop just this morning. We're trying to figure out, I don't know if we're going to be able to push the video stream through Discord.
We can, just apparently a $3,000 Asus laptop that's brand new can't
do it. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it should be that complicated to me.
That's the highest end of the bottom line.
It's absurd.
Brian D, you're not as basic as Joe, don't worry. But at the very least, Hannah's screaming in the other room. They're playing a horror game on Hit Network Gaming. At the very least, we're going to probably at least push the audio through the Discord so we can start. I really want to be able to start pulling in people that are members, people that, you know, pay and are involved in YouTube supporting the channel. I want to start getting them in part of this discussion, just trying to figure out the best way to do that with lag time and latency. But it is coming. In the meantime, enjoying hanging out in the OG chat, in the general chat, TJ's Alpha chat. I know they created the Druth. Oh my goodness, did you see?
Yeah.
I think it was Shane Hansen in the Druth channel posted a lot of his preparedness. That guy's prepared.
Yeah, it looks good.
That's it looks good. He's got his stuff. He's prepared.
That's, you know, it's going to be kind of a close-knit group of people that are all kind of, you know, maybe overly focused. What up, P? Yeah.
The hell?
Yeah. If you want, you're in. Come on in. DZ has appeared. Yeah.
I have DZ coming in.
Oh, BJ's getting kicked off the couch. This is not the first time.
BJ's got a lot of...
Oh, he broke the microphone.
I hope that was awful in your ear.
Oh, gosh. That landed right on the mic.
Oh, my God. He was happy to finally be invited on the casting couch.
All right, Michael Moore. All right, so we got DZ in the house. Okay, so enough chit-chat. Let's. We need to get to some actual news here. Bottom line, we love all you guys. We love crypto. And you may or may not be able to hear anything from DZ at this point because I don't know if
are you ready for the FOMP today?
If so, I lead with an apology to BJ.
The FOMP?
The FOMP.
The FOMC. That's pretty good. I like it. Yes, I'm ready. 90% seeing a pause. But let me let's. Where was I gonna? Crap.
God, we might see a pause today.
We're definitely gonna see a pause.
Also, if we see a pause, we will see harder language in the press conference.
He's got to sound scary.
Yeah.
So I'm going to update you guys real quick. Some of this stuff happened last night that comes to the Coinbase stuff, and then I'll talk about FOMC. So a few minutes ago, the SEC filed its response to the last Third Circuit. You can read it yourself below. Together, my own initials. I retweeted this. You guys can find it on the Hit Network thing. Basically, they repeat the fallacy that they haven't made any decision on new crypto rules. They refuse to commit to any deadline despite the court's explicit order. They instead anticipate making a recommendation in 120 days. And most importantly, they ignored the clear statements of the chair that confirm they have no intent to issue new rules and instead conflate the evidence of a decision those statements provide with an argument with statements that are themselves a decision. But bottom line, they're just trying to buy time here. This was the action that Coinbase filed the day that the lawsuit was brought against them. That started the clock, gave the SEC 7 days to respond to the rulemaking request. Now they're basically saying they're not prepared to do this. They need more time to do it. Even though the court has asked them to do that. That was filed last night. Again, you can read the actual filings there.
Isn't the SEC all about regulations and they can't follow the regulation the court's giving them?
They are all about regulation. Well, this is actually what we learned yesterday. They're also all about enforcement. They're different divisions there. So the way they do things is just very ass backwards, in my opinion, as far as it's one thing supposed to be divided. Like, nope. Basically, it would be like, hey, we've got this room of this 4 of us, and you and DZ are supposed to make the rules, and Drew and I are supposed to enforce the rules, and BJ is supposed to be the judge and jury to decide, it's all happening correctly. But none of us are supposed to talk. That's basically how the SEC is designed, and they're supposed to be separate. We covered yesterday. There's databases that were supposed to be completely separate have been tied together through their own admission. So I won't rehash all of that, but this is...
No, wait. To that point, I actually talked about this last week on BitLab. There's something like 38 instances that they've proven that the regulators were basically making regulation and enforcement and charging different institutions or, whatever actors that their decisions were being based on the stuff that was supposed to be separate that wasn't.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane. That's exactly what we were covering yesterday. It was a pretty good thread breaking all that down. I did forget to mention all of you guys, if you could, we've got 275 people watching right now. If you could smash that like button, get those likes up early, helps more people learn about this. But I thought this was a funny, where did it go? Now I lost a funny little breakdown of kind of what, give me a second.
Oh.
I'm way
By
too
the
many
way,
tabs.
Labatt shit crazy in Discord. If DZ gets a channel, he has a channel. He runs ATB.
Around the blockchain.
Get all around the blockchain. Him every day.
So right here,
maybe on hit slots. Just maybe
hit
spun
slots.
out some test streams.
Okay.
Better hurry up and watch it before it gets deleted.
He's been hitting them slots.
That's a good name. All right, so here's really short, kind of like what it feels like the exchange between Coinbase and the SEC has been over the past year or so. So like, Coinbase, we're gonna have an initial public offering. SEC, yeah, you're good. SEC, just kidding, we're gonna sue you. Coinbase, for what? We're not gonna tell you. Coinbase, what the fuck? SEC, okay, unregistered securities. Coinbase, which ones? We're not gonna tell you. Coinbase, then how can you sue us? USA, can you deal with this? SEC, okay, ADA and stuff. Coinbase, what about Ethereum? We told you. So ETH is okay? No, not telling you. Coinbase, why won't you tell us? You're being unclear. SEC, nuh-uh. Coinbase, so ETH is okay? SEC, we told you. Coinbase, yes or no? Can you be clear? SEC, stop being ridiculous. It is clear. It's clear as day. You're being a dumb boo-boo.
Oh, my God.
Algo is a cool coin. I swear the SEC is an elaborate skit put on by Monty Python. And it does kind of feel that way when... Obviously, this is tongue-in-cheek. This is it's designed to be a little bit comical. It's not this cut and dry, but it does feel this way when it's like you're trying to get a straight answer from Gary Gensler. You can tell he has certain personal beliefs from speeches he's made when he was teaching about blockchain at MIT. He's publicly endorsed Algorand on certain things, which comes up a lot. That was what they were referring to there at the end. However, not very clear when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum, referencing things in the past, when requested for the rulemaking, doesn't tend to want to bring it out and does a lot of these enforcement actions. So we've been talking about it a lot this week. Don't really want to spend too much time rehashing it. Again, all of the Binance is claiming, Binance's defense, in my opinion, is much, much weaker than Coinbase's defense, and the allegations being made against Binance are much stronger. So that's something to keep in mind. I did note I want to say, where is it? Do I have a story? Yeah. SEC and Binance are negotiating a deal right now to avoid the total asset freeze. So,
hey, can we give a little clap for Judge Torres in that case for calling the SEC out for being dumb shits?
That's good.
I mean, not only did she call out Binance, they also have shown that there's zero evidence provided of the fund tampering like they're talking about in foreign markets. So it's just, I mean, I'm just happy that there's at least, we've got who was it? Baggerty, Davidson,
Yep.
Donald, Tom Emmer, Cynthia Loomis. There are people, as mad as I want to be at politicians,
there are people trying.
We can't only look at the dark. We have to realize there are people in Congress, and as dark as this is, I think what the biggest silver lining out of this entire situation is if it actually catalyzes all of us as participants to not just be keyboard warriors and mad talking shit online, but picking up the phone and not talking shit to our politicians, but calling and saying, hey, this is meaningful to me. Like, it's catalyzing people to move.
I agree. And in what we saw yesterday, I think in the financial services committee meeting or whatever was going on, where they were grilling Janet Yellen, we're going to get to some of that later in the show. But I think the talking points today compared to what I was seeing in 2019 and 2020 has the education and understanding level of the regulators, I would say, the floor has raised dramatically of understanding the geopolitical things going on here. So to your point, I do think there are good actors out there trying to make good things happen. And we need to encourage that all the way around. So a couple of questions I wanted to kind of work around the room. Mojo was asking, considering dumping $600 that I had in Arbitrum and buying more Algorand, the risk reward feels better to me for Algo here since the price is down so much and ARB's tokenomics are so bad. I am going to come back. We're going to do a little tokenomics analysis here on OP just a little bit later to talk about that. But DZ, what do you think on that? Dumping Arbitrum for Algo right now. Do you have strong feelings on either one of those?
I mean, I do think it is a better risk reward play, but with the higher reward comes the higher risks. So you got to put that into the equation a little bit. Like, hey, Algorand might go all the way down to 3 cents and then do a 10x, and you're like, well, it only went to 30 cents. I was kind of hoping for $2.50. So, I would be a little bit careful, but I do think I would rather hold a little more Algo than Optimism or Arbitrum, but I own both.
Okay.
So maybe think about splitting. Crypto Tweaker, where's the link to the Discord and the NFT for sub?
So the NFT, I was checking on that this morning. I think that's basically ready. They were just redirecting the domain and hosting. So we'll drop that link probably on Monday, and it'll stay live until we hit 15,000 subscribers. The link for the Discord, I'll make sure that goes in all of the descriptions going forward. So I'll edit this one right after this. We'll drop it in the description. Crypto Tweaker, you'll be able to find it, or Crypto Tweak, because we want to get you in there.
Tweaker. I saw a tweak and I was like, he's a tweaker though, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it also helps to get the NFT though. You actually have to. It's not just a subscriber of the channel. You have to join, be a YouTube member, because the link for that is going to go to members, and there are special chats in the Discord for members.
Can you talk to me about this after the stream? I hadn't even heard of this idea.
Yeah,
this would be dope for the BitLab members. Because we're still sub 10,000. We're pushing up on it now, coming up on 8. I'd like to give back a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think it was fun. Obviously it's a little pricey to get it set up and done, but I just thought it'd be fun way. It's a free claim NFT, a fun way to show. I won't tease it. It's a pretty cool 3D graphic. It spins around, and it's the blockchain basement logo. It has a sub 15K, little crown on it. Steven and John worked on it. So anyway, coming back to this real quick, SEC and Binance negotiated the deal to avoid the total freeze. This is really good. A lot of people were panicked, withdrawing a lot of funds from Binance US. I still think this is a temporary freeze in my opinion. They're trying to work a deal out, but if you have funds sitting there, you still should be self-custodying. I did notice a couple of the comments on the last video was asking, does the court the Iceman cometh? Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
It's the hockey team from hell. Actual line from the movie.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's Robin's line.
That's funny. No, this is, somebody asked in the comments, does the court consider the my assets on Binance US to be mine or Binance's? It depends on the judge, it depends on the court, but so far in past cases like FTX and Celsius, we've seen it determined that the person who has control or the coins, if they're on their custody, they have control of the assets. They're deemed their assets. Yep. So not your keys, not your coins still applies. You definitely want to be self-custodying as much as you can. So, all right. Well, that's all we have for that. Now we're going to come back.
In between, we have happy birthday, Crypto Steve. Thank you for joining. Please don't leave. I heard he puts his seed phrase in a sleeve.
Oh, wow.
He over leverages trades where he could barely breathe.
Oh, my
there you
goodness.
go, Crypto Steve.
Wow.
It's a
rhyme.
spoken word song there.
Oh, my
a song,
God.
but you got the spoken word.
Okay, before
I'm not going to rap here.
Did you guys
Pretty good, though.
last night on
I've heard
ATB? Did you talk about some of the financial services committee stuff yesterday, or was that when did that happen?
That happened right at about 3:30.
Okay.
We had it up on the TV, and I don't think it was mostly about. Because that was coming out right as we were writing ATB. So, no, I don't really think we got into it.
I saw a little bit of, I think maybe we even talked about it real quick. It was just too new and too dry.
Okay.
And so we're kind of waiting for the opinion. It's like, it's going to be so dry. So we did something kind of fun. I can't remember what it was.
It was Flavor Town.
Flavor Town.
But
I did Flavor. I took an actual, I remember the decisions like Flavor Town is like, I feel everybody has a Guy Fieri opinion. This other stuff's a little dry and it's a little fresh and we don't really know how it's landing.
It was dry,
so I chose Flavor Town.
I took some things out of it. Maxine Waters, not really feeling great about her. She seems like she wants to stop everything. And if you have a story on it, it'd be awesome. But
I do. I'll come back to it. So I just didn't want, if you guys talked about it a lot in depth, I was going to ask you some questions about it, but we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
But if you want to know about Flavor Town NFTs,
we know.
I have it all up here.
Yeah.
We'll save that one for NFT Alpha. But all right. So real quick, this was, you guys know I really like this guy Fabian. He shares a lot of really good stuff, and he's talking about. This is more a share just to read through to help you guys understand the psychology of investing in coins that have big unlocks. Waiting just because a coin has a really big unlock or a high inflation rate over a certain amount of time, like OP does. Another one a lot of people are looking at that I think could perform well in the next bear market is Sui. Also has massive unlocks, or Sui, SUI. I don't know how I say it. I'm pretty sure Sui. Yeah, that's how I say it.
Should be Sui.
But I just want you guys to start thinking this way and analyzing projects this way, being aware of the tokenomics, watching for the unlocks, but then still knowing, okay, this is a good place to enter or not. And it's pretty straightforward. But he says he likes looking at the CVD of a coin after big unlocks for signs of investors selling. With OP, you can see that there was 5 days of strong spot selling immediately after the unlock, but it's flatlined since. This tells me that the bulk of the investors who wanted to sell right away have done so. There could also have been more residual selling after the fact, but it would be at least be less concentrated.
Now, to everybody, if they're not sure what CVD is, sometimes it's listed as CVDD. It's coin value days destroyed. It's an excellent metric. It's an on-chain metric, but it's an excellent metric that really gives you direct alpha of not just coins being sold, but especially if you see a spike in CVD, what you're seeing is coins that are either a ton of coins moving at once, or coins, it could even be fewer coins that have been held for a long period of time because it's the value days since the last time it moved. So if you have one coin that was held 1,000 days and then you sell it, that's 1,000 coin value days destroyed. If you have 1,000 coins with one day, that's also 1,000 value days destroyed.
Right.
So you kind of get a balance of the strength
Good
of
explanation.
Yeah.
No, that was really good because it helps you understand. Really what you're analyzing is like team tokens and founder tokens, and it helps you understand a lot of times it's kind of another way to get a sense of how much profit they have on those coins. Because
it's also a good time to get out of Bitcoin near the top when you see, basically
old
coins like, oh God,
Dude,
the smarter people.
Pull up.
Kobe sold, better sell.
Pull up, look into bitcoin.com. This is in the on-chain course in BitLab Academy, and go up to charts, top right.
Yep.
And now go down. You'll see somewhere value days destroyed.
Which market cycle?
CBDD.
No, it'll say value right there. Value days destroyed. Right. Go up right there. This is an excellent metric, especially for tops. Look at this.
Pull down the.
This is a measurement of the coin value days destroyed of Bitcoin, and you can see these red peaks. It's because what happens at the market strength Old coins take profit. They're selling their profit to dum-dums buying the hype. We don't want any of you to be dum-dums, so don't buy this red. So rather than looking at green candles and thinking this is a buy opportunity, no, green candles give you an indication, especially on the macro, on the weekly or the monthly. If you're having multiple green candles in a strong trend, that's an opportunity to take profit and give your bags to the other dum-dums. I want you all to graduate from being a dum-dum to being somebody that's a fund. We want you to have that money in your portfolio. Stop donating it to other people.
That's a good little
This is a great
indicator
chart.
there.
No,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
like
really interesting to look at these green troughs here and how they match the bottoms in price. And obviously, there's another way to look at things not really moving and
scroll down.
Look at the bottom. You can see this was what we called for the bottom, like basically November through January. That's exactly this green section right here.
And then scroll down below this. If you're ever lost, I want you all to be ambitiously curious. Look, you can scroll down. If you don't know what it is, read. If you're watching this, stream, you read the title to get here. So I know you can read. So you got to take some responsibility for the data that's available to you.
Yeah, this is good. How to view the chart. Yeah, it gives you all the information. So yeah, and we've referenced this several times. Look into Bitcoin.com. It's free, absolutely free. Gives you a lot of. It's kind of like, it's not Glassnode, but similar type of data gets displayed there. You can get a lot of on-chain analysis. So yeah, that was a really good share there. I really appreciate that. And I did see some questions about Sui and Aptos. Are they worthwhile to look at or complete trash? I have them in my watch category. Yeah. They're very closely linked. Both use the Move programming language. Both kind of spawning out of Diem through Facebook. That project. Worthwhile to keep an eye on. Tokenomics. But
we're also in a very, very uncertain market right now. And regardless of us hoping that we're going to get a push up, pre-halving and then of course post-halving, anything right now that if the market's not certain, uncertainty is directly correlated with typically broadly lack of performance in smaller cap, mid cap, micro cap coins. And a coin like, I wouldn't necessarily call like Optimism and Arbitrum or Sui micro caps, but they are newer on the scene. So there's also going to be lack of history and lack of data there. So there's not going to be as much risk and liquidity that's going to pour in those in uncertain times.
Yeah, and when you're looking, the reason I brought them up in comparison to OP is they also have very, very high inflation rates right now. And so the point I was trying to make is when you're analyzing these projects, they're strong projects, strong technology, strong team, could be VC money behind it. A lot of people looking at Sui to be like another Solana. That's pure rumors. You have no idea. But what you want to be, if you're interested in it, you want to be accumulating, what you want to be doing is keeping an eye on the schedules, watching when it happens, and watching the price action very closely in the 5 days to a week or so after a big unlock happens. Obviously, you might see some selling, some profit taking from original team members or whatever, but that will dissipate over a certain amount of time. If you see a massive unlock and no selling pressure, categorize that away, note that. So what I'm looking at with Sui, I've looked at the unlock schedule. I would say a huge portion of the supply is going to unlock between now and about January 2024. So, which for me, right before the halving, is going to be one of the better times to be accumulating altcoins anyway. Yeah. So let's let Sui completely get released, let all the tokens get out on the market, let most of the inflation happen right now, which is the bottom part, which really isn't, there's not a lot of liquidity and people buying it up right now. So that most likely is going to have a negative impact on the price over the next 6 months. It could pump small in the meantime, but I'm not getting stressed about that if it happens because I don't have any position in it whatsoever. And it's really, we're talking opportunity costs, not actual losses or gains. So if I wait all the way until early 2024, now my risk has dropped the most percentage it could when it comes to the inflation rate, and the reward is much higher going into what I perceive to be a positive environment with Bitcoin pumping. That's the way you want to be assessing these projects. You don't want to just say like, oh, Sui, bad tokenomics, bad project. Optimism, bad project. No, not necessarily.
Might just be the wrong environment in this moment.
Yeah, or wrong timeline. There might be a reason they want to have really high inflation rate they want to get it all out there over 2 years so they can get a certain level of decentralization or a certain level of, network effects achieved. There's reasons to have high inflation coins and there's reasons to have low inflation coins. So if you're interested in either one, you just need to be assessing them for that way. So that was mainly why I wanted to bring this up. because I do, and like Matic similarly, I just want you to get in this mindset of thinking through projects systematically from your own perspective, because there's so many different variables that, like, DZ may love, Matic, and I may, or somebody might be really Arbitrum and I might be really Optimism, or vice versa. And it's like, we could both be right, and it's just a matter of why you're making the decision you're making for your own kind of investment thesis. Very similar as he was treating Matic, where I don't know if a lot of you guys realize Matic had a pretty big announcement that came out right when that price dumped through their Matic Labs, going zero knowledge, making a lot of these partnerships. He said, I like the vision here, although vague, but excited to see more in the coming weeks. Price action on the announcement is muted, a sign of the times we're in. So I'll let the insiders who front ran it get out first, but we'll be watching for an entry ahead of these days. So basically, it pumped actually right after the huge dump. Everything else was down. Matic pumped a little bit for a couple days, and then kind of pulled back into that range. It was basically on this announcement from Polygon Labs, kind of just detailing their updated roadmap. So again, you want to be looking at roadmap, but you don't want to be buying into the hype. They come out with a big announcement. Generally speaking, you don't want to be buying those announcement days. You want to wait, accumulate, and then
and you can also think of it like this. When you have a bullish trend, or the start of bullish hope that starts having some follow through and volume and interest being measured by volume in a chart as momentum is picking up, and then you have a positive fundamental development like this on Polygon. That's good. That's going to support the upward movement. Now, if we have this catastrophic or, bad sort of, I won't call it a black swan, but this kerfufflery, whatever the word is, of the SEC just throwing their weight around, inconsequentially, that's basically making the price drop, but we're still getting positive fundamental developments, then we're having a bit of basically fundamental bullish divergence, which means that once the momentum starts coming in, there's been an increase in not only the use case, but the efficiency of that network, which is going to lead it to having, a better sort of price action movement when the sentiment comes back to that market.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, this is an interesting question, and then we're gonna move on here. But from Jeremy8819, Optimism, Arbitrum, or Sui, if you could only choose one. Drew.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm not gonna do it until I'm ready to actually spread back out into altcoins. Like, I insulated everything into Bitcoin and Ethereum a week or week and a half ago, but when I'm ready to get back out outside of those kind of basic parameters, I'd probably be choosing Optimism from the Coinbase connection on base. Yeah. So I think I think they have a long-term kind of foot in the ground, and they're cemented in with Coinbase. I don't think Coinbase is going anywhere. We're just going to have to ride through some scary headlines for a few months. But once I'm ready to do that, it'll probably be somewhere around, December, a few months before that happened. Then I will do that again. I will spread out. Because initially, when I first got into crypto, I cut up a Bitcoin I took 40% of a Bitcoin and moved into altcoins that did good, and then pulled it back into the Bitcoin, let everything else kind of go down. And I almost got caught in the meme coin, like this is going to keep going narrative thing when that blew up like a month ago, but I didn't. Sold, thought I was being an idiot. Here we are. So I'm just kind of rolling it.
DZ, you said you agree, or
I do like the base announcement. I would maybe, it's not an option, but I think Near could be a good option because they just did a Flavortown collaboration. Real story. But yeah, I think the connection with Coinbase is gonna put them ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, Near, I like Near as a pick too. Kelly, what were you gonna say?
I'd say Optimism also because of the Coinbase partnership.
Interesting.
But I would again, this is one of those questions that's a hypothetical. In reality, I wouldn't say I'd put 100% of whatever the allocation is into Optimism. I'd probably put, if I had to pick between the three, I'd probably put 80% into Optimism and then have 20% dry powder to pick, based on the developments in the next 6 months of what's happening on the roadmap and the development in the community for Arbitrum and Sui, and then basically
you know what?
diversify.
I just thought of something, and sometimes we forget where we're at in the market right now. We got to take a little time machine and we go back where the wave of idiots. I always call it the fresh wave of idiots. We were those idiots.
Right.
What do you think of the name OP?
I like it.
I think
overpowered. Right?
I think the retail, when they like literally are looking at coin names and coin prices, not market caps, that wave of people, ARB, man, I'm thinking of Arby's. OP, that coin's OP, bro. It's overpowered. They'll just literally buy it off of that. Sui, I don't know how to say it. I'm not going to buy it.
Are you down with OPP?
Yeah,
you know me.
Yeah.
Well, the marketing, you have to see the marketing. Like Matic is amazing at their business development. You always see something new from them, even through this.
And their partnerships.
I remember being bearish because they changed their name. Like,
just
ain't a good look.
Polygon.
They're staying on it though. I watched
Everybody
that.
still calls it Matic.
Yeah. Well, it is. Isn't it still
The
Matic?
ticker.
The ticker,
Yeah.
the ticker is still Matic. Somebody else I saw Robert Vermouth says ZK is the way. So Poly layer 2 for me. I think that was good. I think all good advice. Obviously, like you said, this is a hypothetical. If you have the spread, I own a little bit of all three. I own a little Arbitrum, little Optimism, little Matic, and I'll be adding to all of those as we get closer to the halving.
Cardano did moon the last bull market. It mooned in October. So it did a weird thing. Most coins pumped in April or they pumped in December because right after Bitcoin. Cardano did a weird thing, which kind of in a weird way is kind of bullish. They pumped in October.
Kind of front ran Bitcoin.
Yeah, people
like
that
front
say
ran
it
Bitcoin.
didn't run or it doesn't perform, it's like, look at where it was. It did like I don't even remember what.
It did 150x, right? It was like 2 cents and it went to $3.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So
Markets don't move when we want them to. You just need to be prepared.
Yeah, that's true. And I've got two. So now that we've talked about how to analyze altcoins, I've got two more that we'll hit at the end. But I do want to hit the Janet Yellen stuff from yesterday real quick. So
we do have 9 minutes before the
FOMC.
Don't worry about.
It's exciting.
There's going to be movement before and after. So don't get trapped in your emotional trading.
I thought this was just funny. We were talking. Nick was raging yesterday how all the numbers were saying, oh, disinflation this, disinflation that, inflation's coming down, and he's just like, no, it's not. Like, not in reality, but month over month, year over year, sure. So this guy just said, to celebrate inflation reaching its lowest annual rate in 2 years, I'm going to buy a $120,000 truck that used to cost about $38,000 just a few years ago.
Straight up.
That's really true. That's it's ironic to say, hey, inflation's hitting a new low for 2 years, and you're still experiencing runaway inflation on your day-to-day life.
The goalpost has definitely moved precipitously.
Man, Kelly's been working
$50 words.
SAT words today.
Yeah.
So again, another chart to show unrealized losses coming to banks if we continue these rate hikes. I mean, obviously here we are in 2008, losses on banks, and here we are in 2023, and these are unrealized. So this is not. Oh, you can pull me down for a second just so they can see it doesn't matter.
It's an asset yet to be sold.
Exactly. This is something they're upside down on like this is another shoe waiting to drop, and something's going to have to give here at some point.
It does look like it's trying to recede though.
It does.
I mean,
you can see it's
height,
obviously peaked. It obviously peaked here. It's a little bit lower, a little bit lower.
Is that a relief rally?
So
this is just government backstop saving banks is what that is.
Yeah, so this was the biggest news I would say of yesterday that, like, as far as that got my attention. Like, we know this, we've talked about this, ad nauseum, but hearing the Treasury Secretary say these words to Congress is quite concerning. Basically saying to expect a slow decline in the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. They were asking some pretty tough questions. I do want to play this video here if we're ready for that, BJ. There's a couple different questions they ask about, are they prepared for China to dump all of their U.S. treasuries? She kind of alludes to the fact that they're not, but I think they're more prepared for that than people would like us to believe. So we're going to play a couple clips and then talk about it. So talk about it. So we're in trouble now.
It's Inception. He's watching himself as he's live.
Yeah. Always gives me vertigo.
A little alien in there, waiting for her face to crack open and reveal it.
Me vertigo.
Crap, twice.
Mrs. Toadstool. Oh God.
All right,
Doing it.
Did a tabletop exercise, and in response to sanctions against a Chinese scenario where there will be an invasion of Taiwan, the scenario was that China, the second largest foreign creditor of U.S. Treasuries, would dump that $859 billion in Treasury securities. How are you working with our allies internationally and also the Federal Reserve to deal with a situation where China would dump that volume of Treasury securities overnight?
Mm-hmm.
So we are not engaging in specific exercises to address such a risk, but the United States, the National Security Council, is certainly concerned on an ongoing basis.
Well, Madam Secretary, I would encourage Treasury to make preparations and be on the ready for that scenario and work.
Hey, yeah, and I love Michael Allen says that Bitcoin guy needs to be behind her. She's probably like, yeah, this is. I don't know if you guys have seen that image of the Bitcoin sign. It's very famous from a very old. I don't know what year it was. I think it might have been like 2010 or something like that. It was very, very old. Somebody holding the sign behind her that just says "Buy Bitcoin." So yeah, they're basically asking like, are you guys prepared for the scenario where China was to dump a lot of their treasuries overnight and the impact that could have on us? And she basically says, well, no, we're not wargaming it per se. However, the National Security Committee has raised this concern.
Is that why they wanted to make the $1 trillion coin?
Well, I mean, so there's a lot here. So a lot of people, I'm not one of the ones in the camp that China is nearly as strong as, like that China's just knocking on our doorstep ready to take over, because they're in pretty much just as much of a house of cards as we are. They have just as much debt on their books as
the
we
relative
do.
Basis that no one wants to acknowledge.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think, is it this guy here talks about, yeah. So this was a pretty good way to break it down, where he says, Yellen questioned about China suddenly dumping 859 billion U.S. treasuries due to war. Now, I do think this is, I don't know what, the canary in the coal mine, signaling, talking about how serious all this stuff is very publicly, I think is kind of a warning sign to a lot of markets. But few understand that the U.S. has already been preparing for this event, which is why they've been restricting the dollar supply by restoring crypto exchanges, raising rates, and having 2.5 trillion in reverse repo waiting. And that was another thing that was a very interesting answer when they asked her, and we're going to touch on that in a minute. I've got another clip where they're asking her about basically the dollar being reserve currency status and losing that status. And she basically just says, it's because there's really not a lot of good alternatives. So we don't have, yes, people don't want to use the dollar, but they're forced to because there's no other option, which obviously that's changed a lot in the last 5 years. But if everyone is selling U.S. treasuries at a fire sale price, the U.S. will simply buy up all of its own debt with a skyrocketing dollar. You can't default on your own debt if you own most of it, thus resetting the cycle of the U.S. debt to be the most stable in the world, which is, this doesn't really make any sense on a logical perspective, but if you think through it, if everybody owes everybody all this different money, right? And so, hey, we own, because guess who's the number one creditor to China is us. They own a lot of our debt, but we own a lot of their debt. So they're dumping our debt, we're dumping their debt, but we're buying their debt fast. We're buying our own stuff back. Pennies on the dollar. If you want to sell our debt at a loss, sure, we'll buy it because we're going to print it back and then we're going to dump all your debt. And it just becomes kind of a race to the bottom in fiat. And it becomes a lot more about having real world assets, real world commodities to trade with. And that's why we're seeing this kind of shift geopolitically. So the fact that she says, I'm just drinking a Propel. Propel. The fact that she says we're going to be experiencing this over time is concerning, but it's not. I don't think it's going to happen. It's happening quickly, but not like 2 years quickly, like a lot of the people would have you think. We've seen a strong decline since 2001. So you're talking a 20-year decline, basically. I think I've got some stats on that. Yeah, here we go. Basically, in 2001, the U.S. dollar represented 73% of global reserves. Today, it's 58%. So we've lost some substantial amount. The dropping below 50 is going to be a huge marker, not having the majority. That's the way they measure a lot of these different things. Even when when banks were looking at mortgages and interest and debt in the United States, they wanted to hold more than 50% of U.S. deposits or more than 50% of U.S. mortgages. So, because what does that represent? Control. Yeah. Once you have less than the majority, you're losing control. So that's what we're feeling right now is control. Financial control over the rest of the world slipping away, and they're desperately trying to regain it. But it's not, China's not the clear winner, in my opinion. I'm more interested in watching the moves of countries that run a surplus, which is part of what I was talking about yesterday with Aramco and what's going on with the UAE. They've got trillions of dollars a year surplus to invest all around the world. and to push their mission all around the world. That's going to change the way the world looks when it starts to happen. The countries that are running deficits are not able to have the same impact that they once were. So that's what's very interesting to me. It's not China that I'm looking at. It's UAE. It's Israel. It's some of these other countries. What do we got?
Rates unchanged. Pause.
Pause. There you go.
We got pause.
Boom. We got a pause.
Let's
Oh,
hit
we
the
got a
ground.
pause. Hold on.
Everybody freeze.
We got a pause.
Oh God.
I've been waiting like an hour.
I've been wondering what that was for on the screen.
It was stupid.
There we go. Pause. Yeah. Some of you guys see where I'm going with some of this stuff because, it's a gradually and then suddenly type of experience where we're slowly losing reserve currency, and then all of a sudden we wake up and hey, wait a minute, things are very different. And we're starting to see that in Europe. We're starting to see that all around the world. We saw it with the pandemic when they really changed the way that they restricted travel very, very suddenly. Now they've been building to that since 9/11 and really since 2001, which interestingly around the same time that we started to lose the reserve currency status, or where we started to see it start dwindling at a rapid pace. So, I'm rambling a little bit here, but let's come back to the China stuff because we've got this here. This is part of why I don't think it's not going well over there. There's something to monitor. The China growth has been disappointing since the reopen, and boosting it with monetary physical support is now on the table. They've already been doing this a little bit, and it's still not working. They're the second largest country component of global liquidity. Net effects should be positive for crypto if it comes to pass. So I foresee in the near future, which we've already been talking about, 2024, I predict People's Bank of China, Bank of Japan, the Fed, all of the major central banks around the world to be back on the printer. With that comes liquidity, comes asset prices getting pumped up, wages getting destroyed, and that sort of stuff continuing to happen. The debt-based countries are going to hold on as hard as they can to the lifestyle and the way of life that they've gotten into through debt. But at some point, something's going to have to give, and either things are going to start to change, or we're going to have to find more demand for the dollar. And I think that's really what it is the two countries with the most debt are competing the hardest to get demand for that debt, which is why they're driving so many things and spending so much. But when the shoes drop, it's going to be the countries that have been running a surplus, the countries that have cash, the countries that have assets, the countries that have commodities
that produce,
don't
consume.
Exactly.
You look around and just do the analysis on your day to day on what are you surrounded by? Are you surrounded by more people that just simply consume and really don't provide any sort of service or any input into the economy, or are you surrounded by people that are producing? And you're the bedrock of that. That's why I'm watching India, because they're turning into the manufacturing hub of the world.
And they don't have an aging population. Someone brought up China's aging population. It's going to be a bigger narrative 10 years from now.
There's nobody to be they're not going to be able to fill the factories with the workers.
Yeah, and a whole lot of people about to get old.
Well, yeah, and I love that you said create versus consume, or produce versus consume. That's the way I like to think about a lot of things in life. A lot of people don't like social media out there. Obviously, you guys are watching this on YouTube. You may not be one of those people, but I'm a big believer in creating content, creating on YouTube, creating on social media. I'm not a huge believer in overconsumption. Now, if you're consuming something that's educational, if you're moving yourself forward, I think that's great. You do kind of, what you're reading, what you're taking in does start to reflect in your day-to-day life. But you always want to be thinking of yourself, am I a creator or am I a consumer? Am I putting something out there or am I taking something? Because the more you create, generally speaking, the more rewards you're going to get out of life. The more you consume over time, it becomes less and less fulfilling, and you have less and less. So you always want to be a creator, not a consumer.
Not only that, creators are harder to replace. If you think about what you're doing in your job, if you're wondering why you're not moving forward, if you're not moving vertically, if you're not getting the recognition you want, then you are a consumer at that workspace. Maybe you're helping, maybe you're a support, and that's fine too. Not everybody can be a creator, but everybody can work towards being a creator. Now, as businesses that create the most reap the most benefits, and they're also harder to replace. You're a consumer, you're replaceable.
There's a book, The Wealth of Nations, that goes into great depth about that, and it's a really good tracking metric for the rise and fall of different economic superpowers through the history of really over the last 2,000 years. So definitely recommend that book.
Very important comment from Michael Allen. He says, TJ, you're a smart mofo.
Yeah, well, hey, so I actually did learn that concept somewhat from the mafia. They've got an expression there: you're either a worker or you're an earner. You want to be an earner, not a worker. You're an earner, or they say, or you do the work. And you don't want to be doing work. You want to be an earner. So I can't remember where it was a pretty good little documentary about this guy that had it was a gas station hustle because like all the money in gas station, there's not a lot there, but there's tons of tax. So they figured out a hustle basically where they were opening a gas station, getting all the gas, not paying any gas tax. And by the time the government realized what was going on and shut them down, they had another one open across, they basically just keep opening them and reclosing them faster than the government could keep up. Kind of like what a lot of people were doing with the cannabis dispensaries in California early on when it was medical, not recreational. They just open it, run as long as they could, maybe 2 months, maybe 6 months before they get shut down, pocket all that cash and have another place ready to reopen when they do get shut down. And it was funny to watch it, but it's pretty interesting
funny,
hustle.
even with that hustle, the only way they were able to keep that hustle going and make money is by being smart about it. They were making money and in so doing, looking forward and reinvesting the money they're making into their next venture.
Oh, yeah.
So even with a side hustle or, illegitimate hustle or whatever, it still takes planning. It still takes investment and forward looking.
Duly noted.
Yeah. No, it was interesting. So, all right, we got this.
When are we opening a gas station?
I've wanted a gas station. I've wanted to have a
So you want to be the gas man?
Like a bodega?
A quarter car wash. I forget what, like a change car wash. Like my whole, those things are so expensive.
Oh, Breaking Bad. You're trying to get that money pit.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I want that cash, baby.
It's easy, it's just easy money that runs forever, and that's why they're expensive.
I want to do one with my mutant ape because it's great on a brick mural. Just boom, giant brick wall, slap some apes up there, board and sudsy or something. You're good to go.
Board and sudsy. I like it. So, all right. Speaking, I think I lost my. I think I lost the video where she said, I think I closed it.
But Caleb Franzen, who's somebody who's been on our channel a lot, and he's a friend of mine. We listen to him a lot. He pointed out some really important factors when we're talking about the U.S. dollar as reserve currency, and we have all this narrative right now that's fudding about the U.S. empire ending and the it's going to lose reserve. I mean, there's no better option. It's not like the U.S. dollar is good. It's the best of the worst, right? And in addition to that, in order to change the nature of which all foreign trade is basing, the currency base for that, it's not something that happens in 3 years or 5 years or even 15. I'm not saying that I don't think the US dollar will lose it at some point. It likely will, but I don't think it's going to happen probably in the next 20 to 40 years.
Yeah. All right, so we've talked enough about that. I guess I did lose that video. There was another one where they asked about the reserve currency status, and she basically answered more or less what Kelly just said. Well, yes, we pissed off all of our... Basically, they said when you sanctioned Russia's U.S. dollars, you effectively used the dollars as a weapon against other people, which not only pissed off our enemies, but also a lot of our allies. And she basically openly admitted, yes, France was really mad that we did that. A lot of our allies were not happy that we made that choice.
We accelerated the clock.
And we did speed up the timeline of losing reserve currency status. And then she goes on to say, but we should have expected that was coming anyway in a global world. We're on, basically this is a ticking clock, and we're, as things continue, we should expect trade to happen and all sorts of other things. However, right now, it's not easy, which is just not true with things like Bitcoin. It's easier today to trade outside of the dollar than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And give it another 5 or 10 years and it's going to continue. And that's what's starting to be scary, is, not right after that meeting, breaking news, Egypt announced it will no longer settle trade with China, India, and Russia in U.S. dollars, instead opting for local currencies. So again, you're experiencing, this is, the core of
dates.
What's that?
Like using dates?
That's good. No, this is the core of BRICS right here. Obviously, that alternative economy has been the number one thing I think that people have seen even before Bitcoin as a threat to the dollar reserve currency status. Every time we see one of these news stories, the dominance of the dollar fades a little bit more. And that it's true. It's not going to go overnight. That this is ticking down from 58% to 57% and then 55%. And then it's kind of like the Bitcoin dominance, so to speak, watching that over time. To think that we're going to see that spike again, I think is just unrealistic in a lot of different ways.
And I think I see, along with this conversation, I see a lot of people talk about, maybe it'll just be a competitive playing ground for Russia, China, and America all vying to try to be, that leader, or that it's going to be split up. Like, nature abhors a void. It will not allow no nation to be the leading pinnacle for world finance. So, I know that we're kind of we're heading towards a middle ground and a leveling out through a death by 1,000 cuts right now from the U.S. But when we do get to that kind of even keel level, it's my opinion that someone's going to do some surprising things to try to take that top spot. So.
All right, and Ezo Hernandez, welcome to OG status. Really appreciate the support and having you here. So Gains Network is another one. It's on Arbitrum. Just recently surpassed 10 billion trading volume. Again, in a bear market, that's an attention getter. That was the only other thing I didn't mention when we were talking about Arbitrum versus Optimism. If you're looking at total value locked, if you're looking at daily active users, if you're looking at a lot of the on-chain metrics of the network itself, Arbitrum is far and away number one. Optimism, there's a little more speculation that with Coinbase comes more use. So I probably lean slightly towards Arbitrum on that one, just because of the on-chain metrics. So in this one on Arbitrum, Gains Network, again, it's another, Gains Network, most significant months are coming after it received 1.9 million Arbitrum airdrop. So again, they're getting, it's basically a grant from the Arbitrum team to get it developed. Another Perpetual DEX. You can't talk about Perpetual DEXs in DeFi without mentioning Gains. Previous Perp DEX's narrative that brewed was after the FTX collapse. Since then, Gains Network still shows its prowess dominant on the Perp DEX's category. So if you're looking, obviously you guys probably know GMX, DYDX, you got Gains right here underneath it. So, one might be a proof of concept. And again, you're probably okay in some of these, I like to look one step lower. And if obviously these two doing 600 and 300, 56 is nowhere close. It could, all of these are kind of right. These next three down are kind of that next tier, or, there you go. You can see these three are all pretty close, but if you can get one of them busting up into this 100, 200, 300 million range, you're going to be very happy with yourself. So Gains, another one to keep an eye on there. Again, do your own analysis, treat it, use some of the tips we shared with you here today.
We're not suggesting any of you buy any of these.
No.
We are bringing forward opportunities that you may look into.
This is just, this is what I browse on Twitter at 11 o'clock at night. If you guys are in the Discord, you probably see a lot of these links. They're coming in at all random times. No, this is not financial advice, Michael. This is just information that I find interesting. So,
but really, it really was good financial advice. Thank you, TJ.
You're welcome, Kelly. Gains Network isn't the only decentralized leverage platform that offers trades. Crypto, forex, and commodity gains community on Polygon and Arbitrum has done a total volume of 40 billion. Yeah, we were just looking at that. This is DeFi Llama. Again, DeFi Llama, great resource.
If you're not or haven't ever opened DeFi Llama, I would argue that you should own 0 altcoins. Because that means
you definitely shouldn't be degenning into finance, DeFi projects.
If you're not doing diligence on the assets you're speculating into or investing into or trading, then you shouldn't expect any gains. You should expect loss because you're not doing the work necessary.
So you're telling people not to diddle in DeFi?
Hey, diddle away, baby.
Okay. Go hard or don't go at all, I guess. But yeah, that's really good advice. That's pretty much. There's more here on the Gains Network stuff, but I mean, I'll retweet it. You guys, if you guys are in the Discord, this is in TJ's alpha, both of these projects. But you probably should read this deep dive thread that goes into a lot more details, and you can understand it. But I mean, I think you get the gist of it. So that's pretty much. Oh, we did have one more thing. This was just kind of a fun discussion, and I agree with this 100%. Basically, when it says really. Basically this guy saying, imagine being an economist not interested in crypto, which I've experienced a lot of, older traditional finance people that are like, man, crypto. But it's like, if you're being honest with yourself, people are speed running thousands more experiments every year, despite nation state antagonism than your dead textbook heroes did in a century, all while you write another confounded observational study about interest rates. So it's like, and if you think about like, sure, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in DeFi right now, but if like from a human psychology perspective, if you care about like finance and incentives and like game theory and really truly being an economist of like, hey, if we unleash this, what would happen? Like, and we're getting thousands of those little micro tests with, Terra Luna, big disaster, UST, giant failure. But we know a lot more now than we did before that. And so it's like, to me, if understanding complex human psychology and how they relate and communicate with money and value is interesting to you, I would think more traditional financial minds would have more of a positive approach.
It seems like this is a dumbed down sort of analogy here or definition, but I feel like economists are really based on supply, demand, and utility dynamics of assets and markets and how they work together. And so it feels like what you just said, it really just talks about not only the benefit for economists if they're trying to study something, it's the speed of knowledge is faster, right? Because the speed of data is faster. And adoption's faster because all these things. We have internet, we have computers running these models, and we also have real world, real time stuff that's happening 7 days a week that is just so much faster. And if you take out the aversion because you don't know what crypto is, or you're not sure if it's a real thing, all of us, even when we're trading, we need to, all of us, remove our biases from these data sets and look at the data. What does the data say? Because supply and demand dynamics are the core, I think, of understanding what any market does.
Yep, totally. And just the fact that they're 24/7, right? Like they don't close. Like just that one factor alone gives you more time, more data, more trades, more information. So all right, really appreciate all you guys hanging out with us today. We are going to have a really good show for you guys tomorrow. The Nick Tater will be back. Danny Carney, Solar Mining in Spain, Jay-Z, Crypto Stevo, Cryptos for Liberty, Ryan Anderson, Michael Allen, Druth or Dare, that's a good one. Crypto Stevo, the Smiley Face, Michael Allen, Michael Volmer, Ryan Anderson, Cryptos for Liberty, Flip a Frank, another Ackley, Big Hands Dan, Blue Punk Rocker, Ryan Anderson, Manly, Enzo Mining, LJJ, DJ, Flexa, all the OG status people. We really appreciate you. We'll see you guys in the Discord. We will update these descriptions to have the Discord link in there, and we're gonna drop that free claim NFT on Monday. Till then, keep stacking. We love all you guys. DJ DZ in the zone. See you guys on ATB.